Hi there, so I recently purchased the Babymoov Nutribaby Glass 4-in-1 baby food maker, and I thought I'd share with you how I found using it, and perhaps it will help you decide if this is the right fit for you and your babies. So as you can see, the unit itself has a smart dark green bottom unit with 2 glass jugs and lids. The idea behind the design of this product is that this one unit provides a steaming function for the veg you are preparing for the baby food, as well as providing a blending function on the other side. The steamer part can also be used to defrost or even reheat the food, hence the classification as a 4-in-1 tool. Looking first at the quality of the build, I would say it's generally quite good. My favourite part was the weightiness of the glass jugs. They felt sturdy and high quality, and the thick glass feels long lasting. In comparison, I'd say the base unit was not bad. I can see why the food makers would want to keep this plastic, basically to manage the overall weight of the unit. As it is, the unit is coming in at 5.5 kgs, and I can imagine if they went for another material such as steel, it would have added too much weight and perhaps even upped the price point for the unit. Saying that, the important parts like the steamer basket inserts and the blade for the blender, they're made of stainless steel. I like the simplicity of the design. Having well-placed rivets to guide where to fit the jugs, etc. was useful, and the fact that there weren't too many unnecessary settings kind of appealed to me. Essentially, there's just the one on-off button on the back with the on indicator light at the front. If you're a massive gadget head though, and you take comfort from being able to control every aspect of the cook, this might not give you the satisfaction or the payoff that you're looking for. Turning to the steaming and blending functions, since the only control is the on-off button, the way to control the steaming function to an extent is by pouring in either 100 ml or 200 ml or 300 ml of water. The idea being that you decide how much water to put in based on the quantity of food in the steaming jug and the density of it. So for instance, say sweet potato, that would take more water than the same quantity of courgettes. If you're confident steaming and you know how the process works, I think this would work great. If you're a newbie to steaming, it can be quite intimidating to begin with, but trust me, you kind of pick it up really quick and you get a sense of what works and what doesn't work. What I do like about the machine is that when the water runs low, it essentially switches off, which you can tell by the light at the front. This kind of gave me comfort, so say if I got busy with the babies or anything like that, it wasn't like the whole batch of my veg was going to get ruined because I couldn't run to the steamer to turn it off. So that was a good thing about it. What was difficult though was being able to tell when the water was running low. Also, I'm trying to batch cook at the moment, so I had quite a bit of veg to steam, so I found that a jug full of sweet potato took me 2 refills of water to steam completely. Another thing that irked me a little was that I couldn't easily wash the water receptacle of the steamer part. We have very hard water where I live, so I did find the lime scale building up, which was really visible against the green color of the unit. As for the blender, I loved the compactness of being able to use the same machine. It kept my working area so much more contained. I tipped the sweet potatoes straight into the blender segment, added some nutrient-rich water from the catch tray under the steamer, popped the lid on, and off I went. To run the blender, you use the thumb press button on the lid to start the blender. So when you let go of the button, the blender stops. I definitely liked having the thumb button. It kept my other hand sort of free, but it did feel a touch flimsy in comparison to the quality and weightiness of the jug. I did find if the food was a bit denser or there was a lot of it in the blender, I did have to open the jug and mix the contents with a spatula to get an even blend, since the blender blade is just at the bottom of the jug. I didn't want to add too much water, which I guess would have helped, since that would have made my puree a bit too watery for my liking, but in the greater scheme of things, it wasn't a massive inconvenience. Maybe having upward directed blades or something going up the internal trunk of the blender would have worked better. Babymoov do carry a few other alternate models, namely a similar 4-in-1 food prep maker, except this is fully made out of food safe plastic, or there is the 6-in-1 food prep option, or even the XL baby food maker. The reason I didn't go for these options was that I personally like to avoid plastic, even if it's categorized as food safe for my babies, as much as possible. Of course, I totally understand that avoiding plastic forever is unlikely, but in these early months, I want to keep as much plastic free in their food as possible, especially where there's heat involved, as we have here with the steaming function. I used glass bottles for their milk since birth, so it made sense to me to go for the glass option for their first foods. What this has meant is that I've had to compromise on the capacity of the unit. I would have much preferred to be able to go for the 6-in-1 or the XL versions, but decided I would stick to the smaller capacity glass option for now. This has made batch prepping their food a little slower than I would have liked, but since the machine is visually quite pleasing, I'm happy to actually find it a permanent home on my counter and use this as and when I need, so I don't need to batch cook for weeks and months in advance. So I guess it's a happy compromise. All in all, I'm quite pleased with this purchase, and for anyone with similar concerns as mine, I would give them a definite thumbs up to buy. It would be great if some of the pointers I mentioned, such as the capacity, blades going up the trunk to give more food rotation, and a stronger blender button could be considered in future iterations for the product. But until then, I'm happy to use my Babymoov Nutribaby Glass 4-in-1 baby food maker as is. I hope you enjoy it too.